request asked regarding application for stipendium. So what I'm going to do is I found out that most of the questions were repeating themselves basically. So I'm going to share my screen and then we would I'll walk us through the application process in bits or in the steps and we will see it for ourselves. Okay. Can you all see my screen? I won't be able to see my Google Meet screen any longer. So if you could be kind to give me feedback with audio responses. Can you see my screen?
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's good.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so Stipendium Hungaricum Scholarship, just a little background information, is a scholarship that's offered by the Hungarian government, and then it is usually every year, but it's a bilateral education agreement. What do I mean by bilateral education agreement? It means that it is between Hungary and the host country, which is the sending partner, Nigeria or Uganda or Ghana. There are about 80 something sending partners. So the way it works is the first stage of the application is you send your application. You first of all apply on this portal, which is the Stipendium website. After applying, after a couple of weeks, they send you a feedback saying, I think after the application, yes, exactly after the application have closed, which is 15th of January, you get a response saying that you've passed the technical interview, which is if all your documents were uploaded. But before that stage, you need to apply on the FSB website, which currently is not open. So if you check Google and you type FSB Federal Scholarship Board, you'll see their website. I would have opened it up now, but it's not currently open for us to apply. So you also apply from the Nigerian part. So it's a two-way application. You apply on Stipendium website number one. You also apply on the Nigerian Federal Scholarship Board website. Then Stipendium tells you if you submitted all your required documents and tells you you've passed the technical check. Submit all the name of everybody that passed the technical check to the Federal Scholarship Board in Nigeria, which now makes a decision on nomination. So they nominate a couple of persons who will now go further to take the entrance exams and interview. And based on that result, whether they pass or fail, the scholarship will be awarded. A couple of questions I got was on the FSB part of it. How does it work and all that? But I think we'll take one step at a time and then let's first of all understand how to apply from this part, then we can go to the FSB part. I hope we all agree with that. So, um, there are three applications. It's either you are coming in for BSc, MSc, and PhD, and each of them have different requirements. On the Hungarian part, for BSc, you have to be at least 18 years or 18 um, by the September of the academic year you're coming in for. For MSc, one of their major requirements is that you should have a BSc already. For PhD, it says that you must have an MSc already. So the requirement from the Hungarian part is quite simple. From the Nigerian part, there are strict rules. Like example, for you to apply for MSc, the Nigerian part expects you to have finished your um NYSC for you to apply. That's the Nigerian requirement, not the FSB requirement. Not the stipendium requirement. So each of them have requirements that they expect you to scale through. I know for last year, for you to come in for BSc, you need to have, I think, is it 5 or 7 A's in WAEC? I don't remember, but at least you should have like very good WAEC results because it's competitive. You can imagine the number of persons applying, so they would definitely have to go for the best results. That being said, I'm going to run a simulation of as if I'm applying for MSc, and then we'll try also for PhD. And in the process of that, bulk of the questions I gotten would have been answered because most of the questions were centered on that. So I already created an account by name Ademusa. So when you open the page, it tells you, are you Nigerian? I'm sorry, it asks you your nationality. pinned on your location. So when I opened the page the first time, it asked me if Hungary was my location, was my citizenship, and I said no, I'm not a citizen of Hungary. So I switched to Nigeria. So I started applying for an MSc in my application states that I'm applying for an MSc in what's the name of the school called? BME, Budapest University of Technology and Economics, Faculty of Electrical Engineering and Informatics, and I'm applying for MSc Computer Science Engineering. So let's see what the process is like. The first page gives you a brief overview, priority, and an explanation of what the study program is all about, the modes of study, some conditions for people from another country, and all that. So if I'm going to apply for this, I go to my profile and I have to fill in these details. My name, social security. I don't have a social security if I am in Nigeria, but if you're schooling in Hungary or within Europe, you will have a social security, or within North America. Middle name, family name, identification type number. Obviously, to be my passport. Previous family name. If you were married, like for ladies, I have a maiden name and I have a marriage name. So you can put your maiden name here, or if you ever had to change your name, then your passport number, issue date, expiry date, gender. I like the fact that it's just male or female. We are not confused here. Citizenship. It already said Nigeria. It pre-filled Nigeria because that was the first thing I filled when I started the application. Country of issue of my passport, wherever your passport was issued. Where are you residing currently? Country of residence. Parents information, your mother's given name. This one would be your mother's given name. Her current marriage name. Let me say Medlin. So let's say Medlin Ade is my mother's given name. But my mother's previous family name before she got married was maybe Medlin Okoro. So those are the two things that we should look out for in this part. And anywhere you say exteris, it means it's compulsory. You have to answer it. So we're using that we agreed to use passport. So I don't have anything to do with ID number. Date of birth, year, month, day, country of birth, place of birth, social security. This is the Hungarian social security. It's called Thai card. If you have any, if you have a Hungarian tax number, if you don't have, you don't need to fill it because as you can see, it's not compulsory. It's not compulsory to pre-fill. Formal photo. Basically, we need to put a passport here. And when I finish all this, I would go to the next page. But because I am not filling it, I'm just walking us through it, I will leave it blank. Then I go to the next one. It tells me some fields have not been filled. I'm like, okay, not a problem. My email address that has been pinned already, my residential address, street, house number, city, town. We know that Nigeria, it's a bit interesting because my house can just be behind White House Jua. So how do I write that here? Street name, I can use the White House Street. House number, I can estimate a house number because most depending on where you stay, some persons don't have house number. Example, where I come out from, we didn't have a house number. So I just estimated whenever I was applying. City, town, village, I was in Abuja, so I can just say FCT Abuja. City of, I can say Amak. Province, Abuja. Anyone I want, I put Abuja or I put FCT, whichever one flies for me. My mobile number, Skype ID. The reason why Skype ID is compulsory is that most universities will have their interviews with you via Skype. That's like one mandatory thing. So that means you should have like you can create a Skype account. It's very easy to create. Same thing, emergency contact. You feel wherever you want to be your emergency contact and the relationship with the person. So if I feel all that, I'm done with contacts. Then I go to education. In education, unfortunately, I cannot see the chat, but when I'm done with this, I'll go back to the chat and check them. When I'm done with contacts, I go to education. So this will be the section whereby you fill the previous educations you've had. What level of education do you have so far? Bachelor's degree, obviously, because I'm applying for an MSc. If I'm applying for a BSc, to be secondary school. If I'm applying for a PhD, to be master's degree. status of your study. Are you currently in school? Are you suspended? Are you suspended? Finished? I finished my master's, for example. Um, Official name of your school. Which school did you finish from? Just basically all the details that they are asking you to fill here. And I don't think these parts are issues to part. I don't think they are hurdles for us. I've seen majority of the questions are in the documentation part. So you fill up the details of your previous education, language of studies, study location, what GPA did you graduate with? Let's say I graduated with a 4.0. What was the maximum GPA obtainable? 5.0. So in Nigeria would usually say 3.81 or 2.5 over 5.0. No, you just need to say the average GPA in this first part and then the maximum GPA you obtain. So your graduating GPA here, whatever is the value. Okay, let's do 0.5. And then the maximum GPA that is obtainable, because Nigeria uses a 5.0 scale. Places like America uses a Places like America uses a 4.0 scale. So that's how to fill up that part. So, but if you're currently schooling in Hungary, for example, there's what they call Neptune. Neptune is like the education management platform for all students. So every student has a Neptune code. It's says please fill if you already have a Neptune code in Hungary. This is specific to students that are already in the Hungarian education system, which might not apply to you if you're not here. Then there are also other questions. Are you studying in Hungary currently? Have you previously studied in Hungary but not at the moment? If you've never studied, you just click you've never studied. Have you been a scholarship holder in Hungary? Yes, I am a current student on this scholarship. So that's also to say that Stipendium Hungaricum is not the only scholarship available in Hungary. I was going to come to that, but since it's here, we can just deviate a bit. There's also FAO for those in agriculture. I think a couple of us know it. I think it opens every January. That's what I got for my master's. There's another scholarship called the Christian Young Scholarship People, which would open, I think, towards the end of this year as well. It offers BSc and MSc. It has a condition for PhD, which is that you must be a previous scholar to attain to be able to do PhD with them. Bilateral state scholarship, that's stipend is already stipendium here or bilateral, anyone they call it. Yes, I was a Hungarian diaspora, whatever scholarship you are, previous or currently. Or no, I don't have any scholarship. I have not been a scholarship student in Hungary. Are you a self-financed student in Hungary? In case you're a self-financed student in Hungary, which school are you currently in? I feel like a couple of them do not attain to us, but they are just rudiment questions that people have to fill. This is also for people that are currently in Hungary if they've attended the National Scientific Students Association conference, yes or no. And once we are done with that page, we go to languages. So it asks you what is your native language. As Nigerians, we can put English as our native language because that's our official language. That's the good thing. And which will lead me to answer the one of the predominant questions I got on the Google Form sent that was asking what is the English requirement for schools? Is it IELTS, TOEFL, and all that? The good news is if you are Nigerian and you schooled in Nigeria, you just need to get a letter from your university. It's usually called Language of Instruction Certificate. What the letter predominantly would state is that your language of instruction for the past 5 years, 4 years, 3 years of your BSc was English, and that is accepted by all Hungarian universities as a proof of English proficiency. So you don't need to write TOEFL, Duolingo exam, Cambridge exam, and co. I never wrote it. I never wrote that. I What I submitted for my language of instruction was English proficiency because come to think of it, we're an English speaking country, former British colony, and even US schools are accepting Nigerians to come in without them having to without them having to show proof of what do you call it, proof of language instruction. About 100 schools have actually accepted that so far in the US. If you've worked before, you fill up this part, previous work experience. If you've had several position, please just state 4 to 5. You think now this is the thing, they are not asking you to state all your work experience. They said state 4 to 5 that you think will be relevant to your application. Example, I studied agricultural engineering, first degree. I am applying for MSc plant protection, but my previous work experience is as a customer care representative. So I'm going to put it open to the house. You just need to unmute your mic so I can hear you. Do you think I should put my experience as a customer care representative in this section for work experience when I'm applying for MSc plant protection engineering and my BSc is agricultural engineering? What do you think? Let me hear you.
Capital no.
Okay, let's hear another opinion. Someone else? Thank you. Someone
Yeah, I
else?
think
What
for
do
me
you?
it depends. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I
I
can hear
don't
you.
think you should.
Okay, sorry. You can go ahead.
Okay, the first I had a lady and a guy. So forgive me, I can't see my Google Meet screen because I'm locked in on this screen. So let the lady go
I think
first and then
yeah,
the
the
guy
ladies
will
should go
go
first.
second. So ladies first. Let the lady go first.
I don't
Okay, I said I
know.
don't
There's
think you should put that
no,
because
no
it's not related to what you're
noises.
applying for.
Okay, perfect. And then the guy?
Answer.
And then the guy,
Yeah,
what do you think?
yeah. I think for me, it depends on the program. If you say plant protection and possibly during the plant protection masters, you have some modules maybe on marketing, on maybe and things like that. If it's
Okay.
if you have some modules within the course that are maybe related to agricultural marketing and stuff like that, I think customer service experience could really, yeah, it's in a way it's quite related to that. So it depends, I would say.
Okay, thank you very much for your response. Let me rephrase my question. When I say plant protection engineering, I don't have anything relating to marketing. I'm doing core agricultural engineering. There's nothing even on engineering law or engineering communications. So I think that helps to clarify that. So yeah, we're not asking you to put all your work experience. We're asking you to put the work experience as it relates to the application and what you are applying for. So if I have an experience as a call center agent and I'm applying for MSc plant protection engineering, purely agriculture, no marketing, no communication, I would not advise anybody to put that experience here because it's not even compulsory to put an experience, right? It's not compulsory to put an experience. It is if you have. But if I had experience as an intern with IITA as an agricultural engineer and I'm going for MSc agricultural engineering, that's a good one to put in there because IIT is Institute of something tropical agriculture, International Institute of Tropical Agriculture. So that would even give my application some leverage. I got a couple of questions saying what can make me stand out. What can make you stand out is if you have relevant experience as relating to what you're applying for. So those are the things you should put here. So don't put that don't put all your work experience, but put the work experience that as it relates to the position you're applying for. Activities. If you had extracurriculum activities, volunteering activities, like currently I'm volunteering as the DOS Ambassador of Nigeria. What does DOS mean? DOS means the Association of Hungarian PhD Students. So that's a volunteering experience. I have to put that there. Another volunteering experience I've had so far is volunteering at the school garden. So I put that there. If you were in badminton club in your school, basketball club, or you were in, if it was going to be secondary school, I'll say press and depicting society, or your school had a radio station like mine and you volunteered at the school radio station, those activities or any extracurriculum activities you did while studying in your previous degree, you impute them there and impute the details of those extracurriculum activities. Residences, please enter the informations about your stay abroad if they were extended period for 1 month or 4. So I think our major challenge with the application from all the things I'm getting is to read the instruction because the instructions are quite clear. It is not mandatory to indicate any former residence. However, if you do so, please fill out all the details in full. So if I travel to Ghana for a weekend vacation, it does not qualify for me to put it here as as a resident abroad, as where I have lived abroad, because I just went for a weekend getaway, which will be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But what they are asking me here is if I have emphasis 1 month or more. So if I have stayed in another country for more than 1 month, I have to fill it out. But if I just went for 2 days, 3 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it still doesn't count as 1 month. So if you've traveled out of Nigeria and you've stayed longer, you have to fill that out here. You insert the block and then you fill country, purpose of your travel, from when did you go to when did you return. As many countries as you've been. If you have more, you insert more block and you keep filling. So if you've traveled before and you've stayed for more than 1 month, as for me, I didn't have to fill this if I was going to for my MSc because as at then I had not traveled. Even when I traveled, I didn't stay up to 1 month. I've been to other places, but it wasn't a 1 month trip. It was just like 2, 3, 4 days trip, and I'm back. So that's answers for residents. I think this is where I have a couple of questions as well. Mandatory medical certificate. This is only, look at the submission date, 15th of April. Remember, this application is opened until when? Until 15th of January. So this mandatory medical certificate is only for those who get nominated. They would, if after you get nominated from your home country, then you pass the interview, you would now have to submit this until 15th of April. So you don't have to go and do anything right now. That one is none of your, my father would say, is none of your lookout for now. So you don't have to submit a mandatory medical certificate. For those going for PhD, for example, you're supposed to submit a document stating that you already have somebody that will supervise you. But you have to submit it until 15th. Until 15 from what is said. For further details, listen to the call for application. So I was just playing around the application and I just put a picture here to see what it says. I uploaded a picture of my plant. I have a lot of questions in this section, checklist. So after you submit all your documents, right? There's this section called the checklist where everything you have submitted would either be okay, this thing will block your application. The first question I got from someone on LinkedIn was that, oh, I've submitted my transcript, but it still shows me this danger symbol, this triangle with the exclamation mark in the middle. And I asked him, what did you pick? He said he picked, I have uploaded the mandatory medical, requires you to upload something. Okay, so let's upload a dummy image. Let me see. I upload the same one again. Okay, so I clicked on, I declare that I have uploaded the mandatory medical certificate. Close, close. So it flowed. Now let me go to bachelor's. So I am applying for MSc. So you have two options. It's either I'm currently studying at the university. I've uploaded my high school certificate and its translation. I've uploaded the original. I have uploaded the original and the translation. What I've noticed with this section is if you click on I have uploaded this, most times it still gives you that red triangle sign. But when you click on I have uploaded the original and the translation, it flies. So let's try it, except if it has changed because I tried it earlier. That was what it gave me. So yeah, you see, we clicked on I've uploaded the original and it still gave us a follow-up required. For I don't know whether this is an error with translation, but once you click I have uploaded the original and the translation, you'll be good to go. It changes from the triangle to good. I don't know if the person that asked that question is in this webinar, but this is basically what you need to click. You need to just click I have uploaded the original and the translation for your certificates that you already uploaded. Luckily for us as Nigerians, we don't need to do any translation because our certificate, for those that schooled in Nigeria, emphasis, those that schooled in Nigeria, you don't have to do any translation because all of your certificates are already in English. So people that have to do translations are people that schooled in Cotonou, some other places, and they have to translate their certificate. But you schooled in Nigeria, or you schooled, okay, I schooled in Hungary for masters, but I had two certificates, one in English, one in Hungarian. So I don't still need to translate. I will upload the English version of the certificate. This also gives you an opportunity. So if you are a first year master student, those applying for PhD, this is for you. If you finished your first two semesters and you're currently in your third semester, which is your first year, sorry, the first semester of your second year, you can still apply for the scholarship. What you need to do is, I am currently studying at the university. So you upload, oh, sorry, no, this would be for, it has to be for the next one when I change the profile to PhD. But you will see an option that says, I'm currently studying at the university. That's the option you will click and you can submit. I applied for PhD after my first year of masters. That's after my first two semesters. I had the transcript for my first year. So I used the transcript to apply for the scholarship because the I was applying for the next academic year. And by the next academic year, I would have been done with masters. I see Simon on the call. So, Simon, you're qualified to apply because you are in your third year of your master's. You're in your third semesters of masters. You just need to get a transcript from Mate for your first year MSc, precisely in English. That's if you're interested in applying, actually. You just, Simeon Ugoke, you just need to get the transcript of your first year studies here in Hungary or wherever it is and use it to apply. I also have a couple of questions on English proficiency, of which I have answered that. Just get a language of instruction. Mate also offers that for Simon. Mate also offers language of instruction certificate, but you can also get it from your Nigerian university. I still use the one from my school. I went to FET Mina. I still use that for most of my application. Transcript was another place I had plenty questions. We know that schools in Nigeria don't give transcripts to you, like your original transcript. I have never seen my original transcript till today. But depending on your school, some schools are kind enough to offer you what they call student copy of your transcripts. That is what I have used for all my application up till today. And every application I know of in Europe allows you to submit an unofficial transcript, which is your student copy. North America might be different. They might require the original, maybe at the tail end, but you don't need to break a bank for that. If your school offers student copy, praise the Lord. But I believe as a scholarship hopeful, you should have your transcripts by now because we know the bureaucracies of Nigerian universities. So option one is get a student copy of your transcript. There are other ways people get transcript, but because this is recorded and it will be uploaded, so that to avoid any legal actions against me, maybe I will type it in the chat or when I stop the recording, I can share with you other ways through which students can get their transcripts. I have a friend who is on this call that has a copy of his original transcripts from the same university that I went to, but let's not call people's name. But one option of getting a transcript is through applying for the um, student copy of your transcript. That's option one. If you were smart enough in school to always apply for your results at the end of every academic year, like you could apply at the end of first year for your results. If you did that, you could submit that also as your transcript when you're applying to schools. So, transcript, you don't need the official copy sent to the university. You just need an unofficial copy for this, for the sake of the application. So if I submit a transcript and I click on the same thing I've uploaded, the original and the translation, everything here will change and it tells me that I'm ready to submit my application. This is just for you to submit the scanned copy of your biodata page of your passport. So this is it for MSc application. So let me try the one for um, leave. Let me try the one for what do you call it? Um PhD, and then because I have a couple of people asking about PhD and the whole doctoral school acceptance letter and all that. So let's look for that. Let me just select any random school. Find programs. I'll just pick maybe the first one that comes up. Material science. Okay. Apply. All right. So this the display is the same thing with what we went through, but here is the difference. You remember when we were going through the one for MSc? I did you guys notice we didn't see this motivation one? You go to the checklist. The checklist is a bit different. Bachelor's, proof of English, transcript, statement of the supervisor 2, letter of recommendation 3, research proposal 4. So these are the four major differences between the application for MSc and PhD. You need to send a research proposal. You need to get a letter of recommendation 2. You need to get a statement from a supervisor that states, okay, I'm willing to accept this guy and supervise this guy. And then the motivation letter that we saw earlier. Now the motivation letter is not for everybody, and then they've already given you limited number of words to use. So you don't need to tell us stories. Sincerely, you don't need to tell stories. Just answer these questions. Why have you chosen to apply to this program? Why did you apply to study in Hungary? What do you expect to gain? What does your background make you? Why does your background make you suitable? How will the program help you achieve your goal? How does your proposed study relate to a particular development challenge or need at the global, national, or local level? How will you apply your new skills and qualification in the future? And what challenges would you expect to encounter while studying in a foreign country, and how would you prepare for those challenges? So just go straight to the point and answer this question, because 100 and 1,500 characters is actually small, at least. And then even the 4,000 characters is small. It's not words, it's characters, and they will count the space. Once you start typing now, see, for every space I am saying, everything is reducing. So if you answer these questions directly, you have answered the motivation letter. You don't need to tell us how that you were Nigeria is a poor country, and that in sub-Saharan Africa there is no this, there's no that. There's no need to call yourself short in this section. Go straight to the question. Why? I'm applying for I'm applying for PhD in genetics or material science because XYZ did this. I chose Hungary because it's a good school, it's a good country, conservative. It's one of the best in my field in maybe material science. I have read about the culture and I would want to integrate and all that. What do you expect to gain from this study? I'm coming to do a focused research on material science, which will help to answer the question of this, that, this. Just go straight to the point. That's what this section is telling you to do. Answer these questions. You can type it out on your MS Word and just come here and paste it. That's motivation later. Then in the checklist of documents, one major part that used to be problematic is this part, because what it means is that for every school, usually there's a website. I would put it in the chat after I'll put it. Medley, please remind me to put it in the chat before the call ends. I think it's called dokiti.hu. Is it DOC or DOKOTI.hu? So there's a published list of research topics for PhD research topic every year on the website. And on that website, you can also find the supervisor's name. So what it means is that if you're coming in for PhD before today, you should have started reaching out to supervisors about the you see the list of topics there, and then you see the list of topics there, and you'd also see who is doing the research. So you send them a message saying, oh, I'm interested in this research. Okay, I've put it in the chat with my personal account, so if you can see it there, you can take it up from there. You see the list of topics, and then you can send emails to the supervisors and ask them, hi, hello, um I'm applying to this school. I saw that you have a research topic on this. This is my background. Please don't go and do copy template. Don't go and tell a supervisor that you've read all his papers, whereas you have not done your background work. So you see a topic, you're interested in it, you've checked out the lecturer or the supervisor, and it fits into your research plan or your future research career plans, then you can send a message. Mind you, you're not the only person sending him that message. So he has tons of people asking him to give them statement of supervision. So your best foot forward. For those of you that are already schooled in Mate, you have a soft landing spot because you've been here for 1 year. So you can actually talk to your current lecturers and see which of them you like based on their research topic and align. But I'm going to share a very interesting story with you of how somebody joined my research lab. There is no one rule that fits all. So the guy went on the every Hungarian student or every student here studying is on a database. I think mtmt.hu. So he checked out no Dokity, yes, he checked out the topic of interest that he wanted to apply. And he saw my name. He saw my supervisor. Your email will obviously be there. So he sent me an email saying that, "Hi Esther, I see that you're working in this topic. I'm interested in this topic, and I would like to join your research team. Do you mind telling your supervisor to give me a statement of supervision?" At first, I was a bit angry at his arrogance to me, because I was like, "How do you send me PhD student to go and collect letter of acceptance from my supervisor? My level never reached that one." So I replied, "I'm like, no, it's not within my. This is above my pay grade." So basically, I'm like, "Thank you for your interest, but you need to contact the supervisor directly." But my supervisor is quite interesting. He doesn't have digital footprints. You have to dig to see it. So I said he tried, but he couldn't find any email. But I mentioned that conversation to my supervisor and said, somebody reached out to me, not from Nigeria, from another African country. And this is what the person said. Can I give the person your email? I was like, I'm a bit skeptical of students I don't know. I prefer to accept students I have previously tutored, but not a problem. Send him the link. Don't send him my email. Send him a link that will lead him to my email. So I sent him the link. Then he reached out to the man, and they had one or two conversations here and there. Long story short, he gave him statement of approval, like supervision, and the guy is here doing his PhD. So I'm sharing that story to tell you that there are different ways to get it. If you're really interested in a research topic, you would read about the person and find out what the person is working. Who is the person even working with? I have a friend in the US that his supervisor, how he found a good supervisor was the previous one he had, or the one that was poaching him. He asked the student how is the work, and they told him point blank, this guy is a no nonsense person. You have to work from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. There's no rest for you. You have to deliver, blah, 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 and all that. And he was like, no, this is not what I bargained for. He left that research lab and joined another lab. So, statement of supervision you would have to get. Mind you, this is specific to school. Some schools will not require you to put this. So, if I were you, and at this stage, if you have not negotiated conversation with anybody, I think it now boils down for you to go back to find program and look for schools that will not require it. Look for I heard this school doesn't require it. Is it Zeged or Milkosh? Milkosh. So some schools will not require it. Let's try Milkosh. Ludovica, no, Ludovica might require it. A friend told me he applied to University of Milkosh for which program? I think computer engineering or something in the ICT space. Is it computer? I'm not sure, but let's find out. I know some schools will not require it. Okay, I can only apply for one or two programs, so I have to uh, delete application. Repeat the value to confirm. Okay, all right. Continue. So let's pretend that I'm applying for a new program, and then let's try. Which school should we try? Let's try Milkosh, but this time around the computer science program. Milkosh, the spelling is wrong, I'm sure. Covinus would definitely require a later. Depressing might also require. BME would require. Zeged. Let's try Zeged. I don't know if they will require that later. View. It doesn't show me that, so I have to click on apply. Zeged requires it, so let's look for a school that doesn't require it. Go back to find program. So basically you have to keep checking till you find a school that doesn't require the supervision, because I know some schools will not require it. I haven't tried my school. I think I should actually try it and see. Yeah, so that's basically it on the application and the questions I got in. This one also requires it. So let's go back to find program. Architecture and landscape. I can only apply to 2 doctoral schools, I know that, so I have to delete these ones. So I'm trying to check if another doctoral school will require it. Continue. Oh no, this has moved. Give me a minute. The screen you're seeing and the one I'm sharing are different, so I need to move back. Okay. We're back on the same page. Apply now. Okay. So Mate also requires it. So this year, a lot of schools are requiring supervisory notes saying that you should get a note from your supervisor saying that they are going to supervise you. So yeah, that most times is actually the roadblock for most applications, because you now need to start contacting supervisors and checking if they are available. So that being said, I'm going to open the I'm going to open it up for questions for those that I haven't answered their questions. So you can raise your hand up. And then, so Chinasa, go ahead.
Okay, my question is I got admission at Laurent University this
Mm-hmm.
year,
Mm-hmm.
but I deferred the admission due to funding
Did you
because
apply
I
for
applied
self?
for.
Did you apply as a self-funded student?
No,
Okay.
yes, sorry, I did. But I
Mm-hmm.
plan using Maria Courier for the funding.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, are you there?
I'm
So
listening.
my question is the Maria Courier is not yet the out. I heard it's first week of December. So I wanted to apply for this as second choice just in case. But my question is, should I still go on and reapply to that school I got admission on? And then before applying for the Stipendium Hungaricum, I should just go straight and apply for the Stipendium Hungaricum since I've gotten the admission already.
Okay, thank you for your question. So stipendium is not the same as Chevigny or PTDF that requires you to get an admission, then they will offer you funding. So the stipendium is the funding and the admission together. Because after you apply, your request or your applications are sent to schools where they are vetted, then you get nominated from your host country. You now go through admission exam. That's when you now get the admission. You pass the exam to get admitted, and then you get the funding together. So if you've gotten admission already from a different school and you're waiting to get funding from Maria Curie scholarship, that's a different thing entirely from stipendium. at least to the best of my knowledge. But if you are not cleared with my answer, I would try and drop an email address in the chat. No, you can find the email address actually on the website of Stipendium. Contact us. You can send them this question and hear their response. Yeah, but to the best of my knowledge, I know
Okay,
that there are
thank you.
two. I know that there are two different programs. Like last year, you cannot apply for Erasmus that is in Hungary and Stipendium together, like the fully funded Erasmus, not for those coming on self tuition
Okay.
waiver. You had to pick one. You had to pick either Stipendium or Erasmus.
Okay.
All right. So, what's the next question?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, if you have a question, go ahead. Just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask. Medlin, go ahead.
Oh, thank you so much for going through the application process. So, how do you choose the right university for you in terms of learning approach and curriculum and all that?
That's a very good question. That's a very, very good question because I've seen students that come here and burn out. Okay, backstory. Stipendium is fully funded in the sense that they cover tuition, health insurance, blah, blah, blah. But your monthly stipend for MSc and BSc is like 40K forints, which is equivalent to like 100 euros based on inflation factors or 100 plus euros. And if you are in a school that offers accommodation, they pay the same 100 euros for accommodation. But if you move out of the hostel, you pay they give you 200 euros. That's 80,000 forints. Now, in picking schools, there's a school that has the highest number of international students called University of Debrecen. For some reason whatsoever, they have very good PR, like the South African Airways or Visit Kenya or Visit Rwanda, something like that. They have very good PR, and students apply there every year, tons of students. Currently, the highest number of Nigerian students are in Debrecen because they have multiple departments, faculties, medicine, engineering, and all that. But cost of living in that city is even higher than in Budapest, strangely enough. And if you're on stipendium scholarship that pays you 40K, you can actually get an accommodation that you pay 40,000 in Debrecen. You are going to pay higher. So most of the students are left to work part-time jobs. It allows you to work. So most of the students have to do part-time job in order to survive schooling there. So my answer to that question would be do your findings, ask questions. Apart from the school website international office, LinkedIn is there. You can find previous students and ask them questions about the school and the city. As a self-funded student, I would never advise anybody to go to Debrecen because of the cost. Even as a scholarship student, most of the times you don't get accommodation in Debrecen. I'm not bad mouthing them, but I'm telling you the reality. They give you accommodation to first year, and not all first year students got accommodation. I was at the airport this year to welcome the Nigerian students that came. 15 of them were going to Debrecen, and a couple of them did not have accommodation. It is stressful enough to leave your comfort zone into a new city and then to now land and you don't know where you're going to stay. Some of them were very interesting. They had not reserved accommodation for themselves. So they came in and they were stranded. The ambassador luckily was there, so we had to sort out taxi, call friends to feed them in. So cost of living too in some cities are higher than some. So if you're looking at a school, every school actually has good approach in terms of teaching because there's a standard for all schools. Some might be better. Budapest has high standard of education, but cost of living in Buda is high, and most schools in Buda don't give accommodation. I have a PhD student in BME, which is one of the best universities in Hungary, but clearly stated on the website of BME is that they don't offer accommodation. She is paying 180,000 forints a month, and she's earning from her scholarship 140,000. So she's spending above her stipend on just accommodation. I've not talked about cost of living. She will eat, obviously, she will have other bills to pay. Yeah, so that's my answer to that. Candy, I don't know why this call is ending in 9 minutes because I actually scheduled it for 2 hours. But let's see if it ends, I'll have to generate a new link. So Candy, go ahead with your question.
Okay, good evening, ma.
Good evening.
Thanks for this opportunity. Please, I want to ask, as animal science student, like my major from the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, but the degree that was awarded to us is BA Bachelor of Agriculture. And since I graduated, even before I graduated, I've been doing work relating to agronomy work, crop production, especially in fruity and leafy vegetable. And I wanted to do my MSc now in plant protection. So how will I be considered with my foundational knowledge of animal science, but my work experience and my desire now is now in crop production?
Okay, two answers straight up. First is your transcript. If you have a copy of your transcript, send it to the international office and ask them that question. Two, you can check the curriculum for plant protection engineering. That's what I did for my master's. So I did agricultural engineering first degree, right? So check the curriculum for plant protection engineering and see if there are similarities between the curriculum and what you did for BSc. Because what they check is the correlation between what you did for BSc and then MSc to see if you have at least foundational knowledge that would allow you thrive in the MSc. So the international office, the email address is on the website of Mate, and the current coordinator is Bieta, so you can find her email and then ask her the question and she would reply you. She's quite proactive, so she responds early. Beata's email.
All right, thank you, ma.
All right. Any other question? If we don't have any other question, I would say um let's see. If we don't have any other question, I'll say thank you for your time and thank you for coming. Okay, great.
Hi,
All
Miss
right.
Esther.
Hi.
Yes, you said I should remind you to drop the website for
I
the
dropped
supervisors.
I already dropped it
Okay, okay.
in the chat. You don't need to apply to the university. I saw a message in the chat. You don't need to apply to the university directly. You apply from Stipendium site. So Stipendium will send it to all the universities. And remember, you are only allowed to pick two schools. So pick your best two schools, and then your request will be sent to the schools. You go through the admission interviews, like BME, for example, you have to write an exam. So quick tip, I would say avoid schools that require exam because they are not easy to pass. Yeah, look for schools that will just give you oral interview. It's more easy to navigate than if you have to write a written exam. My friends that wrote BME exam will tell you that it is not beans, and that's why they pride themselves as one of the best universities in Hungary. Yeah, I see two hands. Okay, we have to be pretty fast because we have 5 minutes. So 30 seconds each. Just ask your question, no background information or before information. Glory, go first. What's your question? Hello, Glory. Okay, if Glory is not there, Ahungwa, what's your question, please, sir? Please go
Yeah.
ahead.
Hello, Ma. Thanks a lot for the informative session so far. I just wanted to ask, if I apply for a PhD, how easy is it in Hungary to apply for, let's say, family reunion for my spouse and children to join me?
Oh,
Thanks.
okay. The immigration has been one very interesting things lately. So, from January this year, the immigration laws were changed, which means that there was no more family reunion option for PhD students. So, if you are coming in as a student, BSc, MSc, PhD, you cannot invite your family over, unfortunately. That's the current immigration law. If it changes, glory to God. But if this is the current situation, and it became effective from January 1st. Glory, are you still there? I have her hand raised, but she is not asking any question. So, okay. If any other person has a question, we can go ahead and answer it. If not, we would all retire for the day. So, in a nutshell, that's basically the process of applying for the first phase of the application, which is on which is on the Stipendium website. The second phase is that you have to look out for when FSB website.
Hello, ma. There's a question in the chat.
Oh, okay. Just a minute. Just give me a minute. I will get to that because we are actually out of time. Please, ma, can we chat you privately? Yeah, you can send me a question. You can send me messages on LinkedIn. So I was actually trying to copy my LinkedIn link. But the reason I actually did the webinar was because I had so much questions on my LinkedIn and it's difficult to answer everybody. Let's be sincere. I have a full-time research work in the lab. So it was difficult to answer everybody individually. And I thought it would be nice to have this whereby we answer all the questions cumulatively. So I gathered all the 89 questions I got and streamlined them into subsections of what they were. And I tried to answer them in this section. But yeah, if you have further questions, I've dropped it in the chat. You can send me a message on LinkedIn. Don't expect a response ASAP, or I will get to it. Definitely. I get to it definitely. So I think we will draw the curtains here. Somebody's mic is unmuted. I guess we'll draw the curtains here and I will say thank you. Glory, your hand has been up for so long, but you didn't ask your question. Maybe you can send it to me privately. That's not a problem. I would answer it. So I want to say thank you very much for coming. Thank you for taking out 1 hour of your time to be here with me. I really appreciate it. So this is African Growth Tribe, funded by myself and Leke. Leke is not here today, but we have like a WhatsApp community where we share information on how to land career opportunities, how to improve on personal development, career, and other things. So if you care to join the community, I will just drop the link also in the chat. Don't worry, it's free. We do not charge you any money. Yes, so thank you so much for joining us today. I don't know if Leke is on the call. I don't think so. I haven't seen her. But yes, this is Esther. Janet, I see Janet from the community. Thank you for coming. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Ahungwa, Daniel, Bello, Chinazet, Damian, Faith,